off a little bit with the general state of the industry. What do you see as some of the major challenges that accounting firms are facing today?
I'll tell you, Andrea, our number one challenge today is talent. There's no doubt in my mind about it. Talent is a challenge, and all the things around talent, building culture, and all of that. That's all well and good, but it's talent is our number one issue facing us as well as the profession today.
Now is the time when you're hoping
Yeah.
that to get people back in so you
Yes.
can meet everyone and continue to grow your culture. Just again thinking about the industry and your own
Yeah.
firm, how do you see, some of the challenges around talent and maintaining staff and building your culture continuing to
Yeah.
change?
I think we all realize it's going to be different going forward. We realize that, we learned a lot during the pandemic. We learned a lot over the last 2 years that, we didn't just survive as a firm and as a profession over the last 2 years. For the most part, we thrived. But, we have to realize it's never going to be the same. And staff don't want it to be the same. Partners don't want it to be the same. So I think over the next year, we're going to be sort of feeling our way through this. We're going to see what works, what doesn't work. We're going to give people options. If someone really wants to be a remote employee, well, then quite frankly, they can be a remote employee going forward. So we have to really step very lightly through this entire process and learn as we go.
Yeah, I think globally and across all industries, that's certainly a consideration. And can you talk a little bit about why it's also, diversity, equality, and inclusion is important for the whole accounting industry?
I know it's important because I've seen how it changes with them. And we always felt that in the past, it was someone's direct involvement in that industry and their years of involvement in that industry that made them the right individual for sitting around the table having discussions in that space. And what we've learned by getting deeper in this whole space around diversity and inclusion is that everyone's brains think differently. And I'll tell you, when I started listening to others' perspectives on how they feel about certain initiatives in this space, that's what really opened my eyes into understanding there's more about inclusion and diversity than someone's direct experience and years in a certain space.
Mhm.
It's the background and the communities and the different involvements that they have been in and their personal experiences that they bring to the table. I attribute that to our growth that we have had, our explosive growth at Witham that we have had over the last 2 years. This is really something to do with it. It's the way in which we're bringing people around that table that in the past didn't have a voice. Now they are a real key decision maker and a key player in our initiatives going forward.
Yeah, I really like what you said there about, not necessarily focusing on people who have had specific experience for a lot of years, but really
Yeah,
embracing the idea that there are different voices and different sort of inputs and the value that that brings. And I can certainly see
yeah.
how it's impacted your culture in a really positive way.
It really
Yeah.
has, Andrea, and we're totally different today. We have so many people with different life experiences, different backgrounds, different religions, everything. It's really added to our culture. I think we have a much better culture today as a result of it than we've ever had before.
So let's say there's some firms out there who are also looking to improve on their diversity, equality, and inclusion. If there's some specific recommendations you can give them based on your experience and the positive that you've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think if you're a firm that looks the same today as it did 5 years ago, as it did 10 years ago, that's because you probably haven't gone out of your way to change the firm. So we started listening to our staff that were leaving. We started listening to our staff that said what they would like to see done differently in the firm. So I think I know if you have a focused effort in asking people to lead these initiatives, you'll be a different place. And like I said earlier, it's not going to just happen by itself. You need a focused effort to allow it to happen. And then once you get momentum, there's no stopping it. Then it's really going to change.
So let's say that I am a new CPA firm and I'm considering new technology. I've got everything in front of me. What else should firms be looking for? You talked about collaboration.
I'll be paying attention to finding the best ideal staff to service my client base.
Okay.
Maybe I have a practice that I'm just starting up that's a boutique practice. Maybe I service healthcare. Maybe I service tech companies. Well, you know what? Maybe I know that some of the best staff that I can employ may not be located within walking distance, commuting distance to my office, a legacy office. So I go out there, I build a national practice. I find the best talent that I could possibly find throughout the country to service that specific industry. The only way that you can do that is to equip those staff with the most, the most up to date, most best of breed technologies that are out there, cloud based technologies again, right? So I know the technology vendors in our space are there to support that type of model going forward.